Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So what happened? There was all this talk all over TikTok from all the blue anon leftoids telling us that the Trump inauguration was gonna get messy, they were gonna head over to DC and cause a ruckus, and supposedly it was gonna be massive, huge. Yeah, well, I guess in the end it didn't exactly play out that way, or it isn't gonna play out that way. You know, it feels like the left is still deluding itself into believing that they're the cultural majority, that they still hold the cultural power to influence and mobilize on the street efforts and activism efforts. But the more time goes by, it seems as though this pathetic activist grift era is slowly coming to an end. You know, just like the left can't seem to mobilize people to get to the polls, it seems as though they're also struggling to mobilize people on the streets for their big resistance protest moments. The story continues, it's the complete, utter collapse of the left. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on, but today's video is actually brought to you guys by a sponsor, so let's play that clip first. This video is brought to you guys by American Hartford Gold. Listen folks, in terms of a long-term financial view, the worst thing that you could do is hold on to cash. Everything is getting more expensive. If you hold on to cash, you simply become poorer, and that's where American Hartford Gold comes into play. American Hartford Gold is a 5-star rated company across the board, and also boasting an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. These guys are simply the best, and they're here to protect you in these inflationary times by diverting a portion of your portfolio into solid precious metals, gold and silver. And friends, American Hartford Gold makes it as easy as it gets. All you got to do is give them a call, and they'll have physical gold and silver sent to your doorstep or directly deposited into your IRA or 401k. It's a no-brainer, folks. Hold on to the world's oldest and most stable investment. That's precious metals. Protect yourself from inflation, and all it takes is a single phone call. And you probably thought I was done there, but nope, it gets even better because they're currently running a special promotion where you can receive up to $15,000 in free silver on qualifying purchases. Friends, like I said, it's a no-brainer. Protect yourself against the incompetence of these useless, empty soup politicians by simply giving a call to 844-440-1005, that's 844-440-1005, or text Hivemind, that's one word, Hivemind to 65532, again that's text Hivemind to 65532. A huge thank you to American Hartford Gold. Now back to the video. Alright, so like I've been covering, the left's been racking up losses lately, almost like it's their full-time job. And here's the latest update in the saga, another massive L for the usual blue anon suspects. Remember the infamous Women's March? You know, with the ridiculous pink hats? Yeah, that pink hat movement. Well, it seems as though they're on their way to hitting rock frickin' bottom. Donald Trump wins the 2024 election. He's about to become the president of the United States once again for his second term. And after all the fear-mongering about women's rights, abortion, Donald Trump supposedly being a misogynist, yada yada yada, you'd think now would be their time to shine, right? Now would be the time where they would mobilize and show us exactly what they've got, just like they did back in 2016, where they claimed 1 million people showed up in DC to protest Donald Trump. Now, I highly doubt that number is valid, but certainly back then there was a lot of people that showed up in DC. Well, the Women's March is back, and let's just say they're not hitting their familiar target. Yeah, not even close. In fact, it seems as though they were unable to mobilize and even hit the very conservative target that they initially set and presented to the city when they looked for their permit, or rather asked for their permit. We got this tweet from Johnny MAGA. He writes, "Holy smokes, the organizers of the Pink Hat Women's March asked DC for permits to allow for 50,000 protesters this year, but police say they expect just 25,000 to show up. They claim to have had 1 million show up in 2016. The resistance is dead." Take a look.
Morning, Mike. The crowds are beginning to pour in here, and the big question is what kind of numbers are we going to see? 8 years ago, there were 1 million people out for the Women's March the day after Trump's inauguration. This year, expecting very different numbers. The organizers asked for 50,000 permits. Police say they expect just about 25,000, so we'll see what kind of a crowd turns out. They're going to be in 3 different groups. They're going to meet in 3 different parks. Basically, it's pick your own issue and pick your own park, whether it's immigration, abortion rights, or climate change. We talked to some people asking them why they're coming out today.
I am out here because I want to make sure that everyone knows that they are important, they are valued, they have a right to exist, and to show that we can all get along together. There does not need to be so much hate in the world.
These two groups are going to march down towards the Lincoln Memorial. They're going to meet here, speakers and some songs. It should wrap up early this afternoon. So far, pretty quiet here.
It's freaking over. The activist grift era is over. The times of these people gaslighting us into oblivion has officially come to an end. They had their moment in the spotlight, they squandered it, and now nobody wants to be a part of their movement anymore. And it's really a mystery as to why that is.
What is a woman? Well, they're going to have hormone replacements. I would say your hormones are probably what make you a woman for the most part. You can be born a woman, but, you know. What is a woman?
A woman is a powerful, strong, like, we're all together for each other.
What is a woman to you all?
Someone that identifies as a woman.
Yeah, it's no mystery at all. You know, the left loves to pretend as if they're all educated PhDs. They're so brilliant and progressive and leading the conversation. But come on, I think the reality at this point has been exposed, and it seems like the verdict is in. Nobody wants anything to do with any of it anymore. They're expecting 25,000 people. I mean, that's just pathetic. And really what I think it's emblematic of is the total collapse of their narratives. You know, all the gaslighting nonsense that I mentioned earlier, all the fear-mongering, it's all come to a crashing end. Nobody believes them anymore. People are done with the dramatic nonsense. Like that kind of thing. Who is that convincing? Nobody. These screeches that our rights are being taken away. We're going to be put in camps. The country's going to fall to dictatorship. It's just all so played out. It's so disingenuous, and it's so obviously detached from reality. And that seems to be what's kicking in. You know, Democrats built this whole narrative. That's what people are protesting against, right? The threat to our democracy. You need to take this serious. It's a call to action. Head to DC to protest on the street because our democracy is at stake. Well, who's buying that anymore? No one. That's the answer. That's the simple, clean, correct answer. Nobody. Nobody cares anymore. Even the same far leftists who parroted the talking point a couple months ago when they were full on shilling for Kamala Harris and the deep state DNC, even those people, even the Democrats' greatest media allies, can't do it anymore.
I never called Donald Trump a fascist based off anything I heard from Democrats. I said that because of things I heard come out of Donald Trump's mouth. I don't even know if I believe it anymore. And you know
Talk that
only because of how they're acting. Maybe it ain't that much of a threat.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
They lied to you.
They're jumping ship, and it's no wonder why. Donald Trump got elected, and guess what? The sky didn't fall. No, instead what happened is the stock market rallied, the border problem is fixing itself, the war in Israel is coming to an end, the Ukrainian conflict is very likely to start ameliorating quite soon. All of a sudden the world is healing, and I think a lot of people are sitting back and realizing, you know, maybe it was all a bunch of bullcrap. The resistance is officially over, and this era of mobilizing these massive activist movements to basically intimidate and force your will on the people, well, it's completely over. Democrats took a step too far. You know, protests have been part of American history for a very long time, but back in the day, generally these protests had actual merit. They were fighting for something truly important. They were movements that were necessary at the time, but nowadays it's just activism for activism's sake. We have what's known as the professional activists these days. And obviously academia has involved itself in this stuff. They've propagandized millennials and Gen Z people to basically take on the activist as their newfound personality, and basically they've been used as useful idiots to promote the establishment's ambitions. The Democrats took it all too far. They made everything an existential crisis. Everything now requires on-the-ground activist pressure. But most of the time, they're either fighting for a completely misguided cause, or they're fighting for nothing, or Lord knows what. Like in this case, for instance. What is it, another abortion rally? Come on, nothing's gonna happen. It's already done, it's settled. The Supreme Court made its decision, it's back to the states, and Donald Trump has stated on multiple occasions that it pretty much ends there and he has no intention of forcing a federal ban on the states. What are you protesting? What is this grave existential threat that must be addressed? It's a waste of everybody's time. People have realized it, and apparently, even many of the former activists and protesters have realized it as well, because they're not friggin' showing up anymore. The resistance is over, and all this mobilizing and activism that Democrats have engaged in, it seems has hurt their cause more than helped in the end. It's all completely backfired so spectacularly, and that's basically the conclusion. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.